With Thanksgiving right around the corner, what are the 5 bottles of bourbons and whiskeys that you need to make this holiday special? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys a brand new video. My favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, is right around the corner. Thanksgiving brings some great food, great family time, and great football games, but it can also bring great bourbon and whiskey. And I'm going to be giving you guys my top 5 favorite bottles of bourbons and whiskeys that you need to have for Thanksgiving. Now, each year this list does somewhat change. Last year's was a little bit different from the previous years, and this year's is going to be a little bit different than last year's because, well, minds change, palates change, prices change, and availability changes. So, without further ado, let's get into bottle number 1. Now, what would Thanksgiving be without your old granddad sitting in his recliner chair after finishing a long, hard meal, watching some football, and just chilling there waiting, right? That's why I got old granddad bonded on the bar top today, going first. This is a 100 proof whiskey that you just can't go wrong with. This is a great mixing whiskey, in my personal opinion, coming in at about $26 to $27. Really, really delicious. It's a little bit lower proof than your old granddad 114. It's going to be a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit easier to find for me, in my personal opinion. And, you know, you just got to have an old granddad on Thanksgiving. Let's get into bottle number 2. What's Thanksgiving without the turkey? Wild Turkey Rare Breed 100% deserves to be on this list every single year. Now, I do think I missed it on one year, but for some reason, I just don't know why I did not put it on my Thanksgiving bourbon and whiskey list. But this year, it's on it again. Wild Turkey Rare Breed coming in at 116.8 proof. This is, again, another whiskey you can do absolutely anything with. It's a nice sipping whiskey after, you know, your meal, after you had your cocktail with your old granddad. But this right here is an absolute staple. You gotta have turkey on Turkey Day. It just makes absolute sense. Before we get into the next 3 bottles, I want to hear what your absolute must-have whiskeys and bourbons are down in the comments below. Make sure you guys drop that like, smash that subscribe button. Like I said, leave that comment, check the Patreon link down below. 2025 is going to be an absolute big stellar year, and I don't want any of you to miss that. We're doing a birthday live stream on Monday. That's right, this Monday coming up. Make sure you don't miss it. My birthday's coming up, and I want every single one of you to come over and celebrate. We're doing a fun, fantastic blind that is going to be absolutely amazing. So we might have some special guests. Who knows? It's going to be a blast. Hope to see you all there. But without further ado, let's get into bottle number 3. Bottle number 3 has to go to this bad boy right here, Sagore Spirits double-barreled rye whiskey, coming in at, I believe, 96.6 proof. Yes, unbelievable how delicious this rye whiskey is right here. This, again, is I will say this every single time I do a video with this bad boy right here. This is the rye that got me into rye whiskeys. I was really diving deep into the double-barreled and toasted bourbons, and then for some reason I just, you know, I thought, why not pick this up, see what it's all about. It brings in a lot more sweetness and richness and boldness and complexity to what I thought rye whiskey was in this bottle. And then when I dove into ryes a little bit deeper after this one, I was hooked. And I know a lot of you guys are scared of ryes, and this right here is a really good rye to start your journey in the rye world after the bourbon world, because this right here, not super proofy, super flavorful though, and this is a really good one for Thanksgiving. It's got a lot of deep, dark bready notes and marshmallowy and campfire-esque kind of feel. Really good. Can't go wrong with this one. These have all been relatively available, right? This is a $25 to $30 bottle, $55 to $65 bottle. This right here, again, a $55 bottle, and I can see all 3 of these in stores wherever I go. Let's get into our last 2 bottles. Now, these are going to be a little bit harder to find. These are your nightcap pours per se. So let's get into bottle number 4. Bottle number 4 for me is going to have to go to Elijah Craig Toasted. Now, for the same exact reasons I was talking about the Sagore Spirits Double Oaked Rye. I'm talking about the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. This is going to be a little bit softer, a little bit sweeter, a little bit more approachable for bourbon drinkers, right? If you're newer, if you bring this to a Thanksgiving event and you've got people that are starting to dabble into bourbon or not really knowing what they want to do with bourbon, this is a great bourbon that you can bring to a party, have neat, have on the rocks, have in a cocktail at 94 proof. It's soft, it's sweet, it's balanced, it's enjoyable. I'm putting this on here over top of the Woodford Double Oaked only because I personally am not a fan of the regular batch Double Oaked. If you can find single barrels of it, by all means go for that. That's at like 90.2, 90.4 proof. Can't go wrong with Woodford Double Oaked. But for me, I think that this is coming down in price. I've seen this in stores for about 60 to 65 bucks regularly now. I can't go and say that for everybody, but the stores that I go into, I've seen this for just about MSRP. The highest I've seen is about 70, 75 bucks. I still think it might be a worth it pour at that just because of how balanced it is for that new bourbon drinker that might be at your Thanksgiving event. Now, let's get into our fifth and final bottle. This one is going to be your nightcap dessert pour as you're watching that final football game. Let's get into it. I truly do believe that Widow Jane Decadence is possibly the best finished bourbon that I have personally ever had at this proof. At 90.4 proof, I think this is, or 91 proof. You just can't go wrong with Widow Jane Decadence. This is finished in maple syrup barrels. This is going to be the most expensive bottle on this bar. This is coming in at about 90 to 100 bucks. But for me, it's well worth it. You're taking the Widow Jane 10-year and then finishing it in a maple syrup barrel to give it some really, really nice softness on the palate. It brings in some sweetness. It brings in some complexity. It brings in a little bit more of a dark, deep, dense note that is just really, really pleasant. It gives you that oakiness, that oaky presence that lets you know that this is a higher aged whiskey that is finished. And that's what I absolutely love about this, because you do get those bourbon notes that shine through on this, but you're still getting that sweetness from that maple syrup, but it's still giving you a lot of just like really nice bourbon notes that just, like I said, come through like you wouldn't believe. And I absolutely love what Widow Jane has done with this Decadence series. Can't go wrong with Widow Jane Decadence in my personal opinion. Like I said, might be the best finished whiskey in this proof range. You guys can let me know in the comments below what your favorite finished whiskey is in the 90 to 94 proof range. But that's mine. That's gotta be it. I love the Widow Jane Decadence so much. So here are my 5 whiskeys for Thanksgiving. These are all pretty much available. The hardest one that you're gonna have to find is gonna be the Widow Jane Decadence. You can't go wrong with all 5 of these. You're not gonna be breaking the bank. You're gonna be bringing great whiskey to a Thanksgiving event, and you're gonna make a lot of people happy, including yourself. But to make me happy, make sure you guys drop that like, leave that comment, smash that subscribe button, check that Patreon. Hope to see you Monday after the video at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.